Good evening and welcome to tonight's show. I'm your host, Tina Dawson, the owner of True Blue Designs, and I thank you so much for tuning in. Please like and share and let everyone know that we are on the air. We are streaming live simultaneously on our Facebook page and on our YouTube channel. Make sure that you are engaged in tonight's show. We love when the viewers are engaged. So, Dr. Alex will be taking questions throughout the show. So, make sure that you put your questions in the comments and we'll make sure that we get them answered. Um, and I just want to thank you. In March, we celebrated 14 years of being in business and 3 years of airing the show. So the purpose of the show is to um, give a platform to people to talk about who they are, what they do, and share insight on the things that they know, their perspective. So if you or anyone would like to come on the show, please contact us. You can go to our Facebook page at True Blue Designs, right there. And there's a contact form, and you can fill out the contact form, and then I'll contact you about being on the show. So I really would appreciate. We are looking for guests for September through December, and we would love to interview you. So again, go to True Blue Designs, click on the contact us page, and submit your information. So I would like to interview you. On September the 11th, 2021, I participated in a Covington 5K Fuzz Run. And afterwards, I went through the expo, which featured local business owners, and learned about the products and services that they offered. Covington Family Chiropractic Office was offering free spinal exams, and I participated, and that one scan changed my life. Dr. Jamie Adams is the owner, and I have been under the care of this office ever since, and this is since 2021. Tonight's guest was assigned to work with me, and we bonded quickly. Dr. Kopek takes chiropractic care to another level with the quality service and education he gives each patient. Make sure you like and share and let everyone know that we are on the air. We are talking tonight about chiropractic wellness. Please help me give a warm welcome to tonight's guest, Dr. Alex Kopek.
Thank you for having me.
Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am doing great. Thank you so much for getting on the call. We have been talking about getting you on this show for a while, and I finally
We finally did it. We made it happen.
Yes, we sure did. Well, I'm going to let you start off by just telling the audience a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, hello everyone. I'm Dr. Alex. I've been a chiropractor for about 2 years now. I graduated at Life University back in 2021, and before that, I was a hockey player. I played D1 college hockey. I've been around sports my whole life, so naturally, I wanted to get into sports. Just didn't know how. What really brought me to chiropractic and just how powerful it really can be and how it can really show how the body can heal itself is I got in a traumatic hockey injury and I lost all control and feeling of my right arm all the way from the elbow down. So I couldn't use any of the muscles. It was basically like a limp hand essentially, and I couldn't feel anything. I got all of the nerve studies underneath the sun done, and after about 6 months of just no positive feedback whatsoever, I was told that I would never get the use of my hand back again.
Wow.
So therefore, I chose to find other outlets because being the athlete and competitor I am, I did not want to accept that as an answer. So I wanted to try every other avenue possible, and that really led me to chiropractic. I've been going to a chiropractor since I was 8, but once I got this injury, I really got to see the full potential of it. And what happened was I actually got 90% of the function back in my hand, as well as the feeling back in my hand. And from that point on, I was able to get a scholarship for hockey still, and able to really start my journey there. Got a bachelor's in health science, which from there, I wanted to get my doctorate in chiropractic 100%. So I got brought to Life University and learned and met some outstanding things, and how truly powerful chiropractic can be, and just like how much it can benefit everyone in the community. And yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
Well, talk a little bit about how you met Dr. Jamie and the office that you're working at.
Okay, so I met Dr. Jamie through our schooling, through Life University. We have an internship process where first we start in the clinic system, where we work on other students for about a year. And then we go into another clinic system where we work with the public for about 8 months. And then after that, we go to an actual office underneath a doc, and we work with their community of people from there. And that's where I got the opportunity to work with Dr. Jamie. I was able to be an intern at her office for about 6 months.
Okay.
After 6 months have passed, she confronted me and my now future fiance with jobs to work at the opportunity to work at Covington Family Chiropractic. And at that point, it was just a no-brainer for me, and for both of us, actually. And it was a great decision. I loved every minute of it so far, and I'm just glad I got to help the community that I'm able to help right now.
Yes, and I am so glad that you said yes, because I would have never met you.
Right.
First, I had the fiance, then I had you. So
Yeah.
I enjoyed being with each of you, and I have learned so much. I don't really understand, after all of the knowledge that I currently know about myself, and about the benefits of chiropractic wellness. I don't really. I guess I do understand why it's like either not suggested by certain physicians,
Yeah.
or it's the last result. You know what I mean? Because it's almost, to me, it's almost like a holistic approach to some of the ailments that people come in. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, definitely. So, as a chiropractor, we get a lot. The main thing that people always refer to us as is neck pain, back pain.
Mm-hmm.
It's the biggest thing, and we definitely help people with those issues without a doubt. But when it comes to chiropractic, the most important thing about chiropractic is that we work with your nervous system, and your nervous system is the most important organ in your entire body. It controls your brain, controls your spinal cord, which controls all the nerves, which go to your heart, make sure your heart's beating, goes to your lungs, make sure your lungs breathing, etc. It's really a universal approach to how your body regulates stress, and that can be good stress, it can be bad stress. And our body needs a little bit of help with that before we get bogged down with all this stress, whether it be work, it be family, it be emotional stress. Our bodies kind of get into this overload state. And so we definitely need routinely checkups, even if we have no pain whatsoever. Our nervous system always needs some help. And, right now, chiropractic, our main focus is wellness care and being proactive with your health. You really have two options that you really got to think about. It's, you can put the time in, put the money in now, which will be a lot cheaper in the long run to take care of your health now. So when you get older, you don't have all these hospital visits that cost money, medications that cost money, God forbid, some surgeries, anything like that, some debilitating thing to develop. We're going to be spending a lot more money and a lot less quality of life at that point. So we take that approach where we really want to be preventative with everything. And that's what we.
Yeah, I know when I first met, I can't remember if it was Courtney that I met when at the Fuzz Run, but the person who did the spine showed me that on the left side of my body, the scan came out ruby red.
Yep.
And she asked me, was I having any problems on that side, or if I was having problems sleeping. And it was so crazy to me because it showed up on the left side, but my problems were on the right.
Yep.
And I was like, that makes no sense to me. And so as they started educating me, that this is going on and that is going on, and just being able to have a good night's sleep is priceless. And then I don't know, a lot of the viewers know about the chiropractic pillow. When I got the pillow, Maggie had suggested that I get the pillow. And I don't know what's in the pillow. I don't know how they make the pillow. But the first night I got the pillow and she told me what to do. And the first night, and then she called and checked up on me. And she said, hey, I just want to know how the pillow's working. And I was like, I didn't hear anything last night. I slept like a baby. So let's talk a little bit about the chiropractic pillow, or proper pillows, because some people have all types of pillows and they don't understand that, some of that is causing you not to really sleep well.
Yeah, definitely. I would love to elaborate on that. Yeah, the pillows we use in our office, we actually, let me back up. Like I said, I've tried every pillow underneath the sun. I've been getting chiropractic care since I was 8. Let's try this pillow, try this pillow, try this pillow. And what led me to this pillow was I was given the opportunity to try it out about 3 years ago, and it absolutely changed my life. It was the only pillow that really, wow, the good night of sleep was just so incredibly different, and it's lasting. The importance of the pillow is, you actually want somewhat of a flatter pillow. You don't want to stack multiple pillows on top of each other. That puts your head into this forward flexion, which, given today's society and how much we're at the computer, how much, we sit at work, we're driving, whatever the case may be, our head naturally already goes into this forward head position. And, we have a nice curve in our neck, and it should be a nice C-shaped curve kind of going like this. So naturally your head should go a little bit back. It should be up top the shoulders here. So when you have that extra flexion, what it does is straightens out the spine, which actually interferes with a lot of the communication that the brain is able to relay to the rest of the body to do its function. You got to think about, I'm sure everyone here has heard about some type of degeneration in the body, whether it be in the neck, it could be, oh, I need a knee replacement, my knees are degenerating. We hear this all the time. And, when it comes to the pillow in particular and your neck, it really helps reinstate that curve into the neck while you sleep in a very comfortable manner, so that it's not too much pressure, but over time, it's going to help affect that curve and keep that curve healthy. And it's going to take a lot of tension off of your neck. It's going to prevent your neck from degenerating because it has that nice curve. But ideally, you don't want multiple pillows. You want a flatter type of pillow with a little bit of a curve near the bottom here. So this will be a little bit higher compared to the top here. Generally, we use a nice memory foam that actually is firm, but it's not so firm that you feel like your neck is propped up like this, and it's very uncomfortable. It kind of goes with the body and just applies just enough pressure in order to reinstill that curve, but it's not too much where it feels nice and soft so you can sleep well.
Yeah, she ended up getting, she measured my neck and then ordered it. And then it came with a carry bag. And so she was like, Tina, you can actually travel with it. You can take it, because it has its own bag. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
But you know what? You said it earlier. Either you can invest in your health now, or you can invest in your health later. And I had so many things wrong with me. And one thing you and I share is, I was a gymnast. And you were asking me, with all the stuff that you did as a gymnast, did you ever go to a chiropractor? And I was like, no. And we just don't understand that, where there is blows that we take or falls that we take, or or if we play sports, all of that, all that pounding is on the body, right?
Yeah.
And so we end up years later having issues that could come from something that happened a long time ago because we never dealt with it.
Correct. Absolutely correct.
Yeah. Yeah. I've learned a lot.
Good. And that's something, we really pride ourselves in doing. As a chiropractor, one, we want to establish a relationship with you. We want to get to know you. We want to make sure that we can get you to a point where you're able to enjoy your life to the fullest. And we want to educate you because, like I said earlier, it's about reclaiming your health. It's about taking care of yourself. It's one thing to know that I know what I'm doing, important, of course, but also it's really important for you to be able to get the education, the knowledge to where you can start making these decisions outside of chiropractic that also contribute to your health. It's having different tools, chiropractic, diet, exercise. It's all these different tools that you have to bring together, put in your tool belt for a healthy lifestyle moving forward.
Yeah, my personal trainer has asked me, she'll ask me some days, when's the last time you got an adjustment? And then another thing she'll ask me is when the last time you had a massage. Now, in your office, in the back, there is a masseuse. Correct. So I want you to explain a little bit to the audience about why the chiropractic part and the masseuse goes hand in hand.
Yeah, for sure. So, primarily the means that we work with when we deal with chiropractic is the nervous system, but we also work with that spine, the skeletal system, really the bones of the body. And of course, you affect those bones with the adjustments. It can help, reconfigure these muscles, but sometimes it needs a little bit more help. Massage, if you got very high, very, very tight traps that cause constant pain, a masseuse will be able to get in there, create this different type of stimulus, relax that muscle a little bit more. So then, one, you can actually recover a lot quicker, but also you'll be able to receive those adjustments better, which will help the muscles stay loose and also hold your adjustments and make those permanent changes in the long term. Massage is also very beneficial for a lot of different things. So if we see some patients that have some issues with autoimmunity, things like that, a lot of time your lymph system gets very, very clogged and overloaded with trying to detox everything. And, a masseuse, there's certain masseuse techniques, which in our office, she's able to do this is lymphatic drainage, which actually helps your body to expel your lymph system so that you can eliminate these toxins at a better rate, but also more efficiently because we all need a little bit of help. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, the massage is very well versed as far as the different things it can help with, and working in conjunction with chiropractic is just such a lovely benefit, and muscularly taking off some tension, but as well as holding those adjustments so that your body can really start to recover well.
Now, once I've gone to the office and paid you a visit, or when I go to see a masseuse, the one thing that both of you have in common is when I leave, you say, drink a lot of water. Yes. Why is that so important?
So drinking water is so important for many different reasons. First off, I'll just start off with this. Everyone should be drinking water. The ideal goal is to have half of your body weight in ounces a day. And I know that seems like a lot, but the best thing you can possibly do is to start that, because one, our body is made up of 55 to 60% water. That is most of our body. That is more than 50%. And, ideally, common sense tells us, okay, well, if our body has so much of it, our body must need it. So if we get deplenished of water, one, our blood pressure gets messed up. It can start to affect more things. You won't be able to heal because your blood pressure is messed up. oxygen is carried in your blood, and oxygen is what's going to ultimately heal your tissues. And you get that through the sleeping as well. And particularly after a massage or an adjustment, every time we do an adjustment, it gets that blood flow going and it helps the body release toxins. So, we want you to drink that water. So, one, we can travel those toxins, help your body to expel them. Because if you don't expel them, you can, sometimes have, you can either get sick from it depending on how much is being released and things like that. It really just helps your body to do what it needs to do, circulate everything through so that you can start to begin healing and get rid of the bad stuff.
Okay. So you drink the water to flush the toxins.
Exactly.
Got it. Got it. Yeah. I love this office. Okay. So the next question I have is this. This is 2023, right? So you have, new techniques, you have new instruments. A lot of times, when people don't know about all of the new advancements in chiropractic, they think manual adjustments are the only way to get adjustments. So I think from old time movies, it's kind of discouraged some people from getting
definitely.
But if you use a different device on me, I cannot remember the name of that device. But if you could just go over different techniques that you all use in the office, and manual adjustments is not the only one. I've never been manually adjusted. I call it the clicker. I don't know what the technical name is. That thing works wonders.
Oh, yes, it does. So, I would love to elaborate on that.
Okay.
So, here's the thing with chiropractic, that's the traditional way. That's what it was founded on, using our hands to move the bones, which is still very, very effective. But we also, with all these advancements in chiropractic, especially in the last 20 years, has just been incredible. And there's all these different ways we can adjust the spine, one of them being using an instrument adjustment. So even within that realm, there's multiple different instruments and techniques that we can utilize as a chiropractor. The one in particular that Miss Tina is talking about that we use on her is called an integrator. And an integrator, we use a specific technique that works with your autonomic nervous system through the vagus nerve. And we analyze the spine through that. And it's very minimal, super fast. You barely feel a thing half the time. And we only adjust 2-3 segments with it, and the body does the rest, and it's just really incredible. So even people that have hardware, or if they have a lot of degeneration where using our hands is just not going to be a good option for it in general, using an instrument gives us the opportunity to be able to still adjust the spine and not cause any damage, but actually make sure those bones are still able to do what they need to do, and the bones around it. Because, a lot of people don't know that when you get a surgery, if it's a hip replacement or if it's a back surgery, you fuse the spine, that the bones that aren't fused that are above it. So let's say it's C2, C3, C4, these 3 bones are all fused together. This C1, this bone above, and then this bone below, this C5, are the research tells us that those bones have a 10 times more chance of having accelerated degeneration in those areas because they have to become what we call hypermobile because these bones aren't moving. So the instrument really gives us an opportunity to even work with those type of patients with those bones, making sure slowing down that degeneration process. So, and give their neck as much movement as possible, because that's one of the biggest things you lose with one of those.
Right. Now, you talked about C1, C2, C3. I could not find the diagram that you all have in the office. So even if I have to drive, are you going in tomorrow?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Okay. So take a picture of that and send it to me. And then I'll put it on social media so people can understand. But we're going to talk about this, right? So the other thing that they have in the office is they have this diagram of your spine.
Yes.
And I'll make sure that I put it on social media.
Mm-hmm.
And on the diagram, it tells you now are they called vertebrae?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So each C or each little thing in your spine is a vertebrae, and it works a different part of your body. Now, the reason why this was interesting to me, because when I first came to the office, I was having problems doing the number 2. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so Dr. Jamie had asked me, or Maggie had asked me if that, do I have that problem? And I said yes. And they said, okay, lay down. And they always explain to me what they're doing. So she found the vertebrae that dealt with that part of the body. And she told me, she said, I'm going to adjust it. I want you to go home. I was like, yeah. And she said, no, Tina, I need you to go home because I'm going to adjust this vertebrae. And I said, okay. And let's just say, after the adjustment and drinking the water,
yep,
I haven't had any more problems. And I think that's
wonderful.
I think that's the benefit, but that's not what we're taught, Dr. Alex. We're taught that if you're constipated, then there's medicine for it, right? Or we're not even taught that if you really get a good workout in, that can relieve that too. It's always going straight to the medicine and not a holistic solution to it. So can you talk a little bit about how your body is a self-healer? Really, it is. But you need these adjustments to help you with different areas and different things. Because you said once you get the adjustment, the body does what it's supposed to do. Yep. So can you talk a little about that? Because like I said, the society teaches us pills. But I want everybody to know, and I want them to really consider finding a good chiropractor office, because this could really be the solution for a lot of people.
Yeah, definitely. And, when it comes to that, it's, the body, here's one thing you got to remember. Every single nerve in your body, there's over 78 billion nerve cells in your entire body working all the time. And every single nerve that comes out of your spine at each level, every single one innervates an important organ or controls an important organ. It controls one of the muscles. It controls the joint capsule. It controls many different other things. Okay, so one thing that chiropractic, often gets overlooked on is we deal with the function of the body. And it's, I love to use this type of analogy for it. And we call it the crinkle hose. So if your hose is perfectly straight, you got a nice stream coming out, that's where we want it. But if you put a kink in it, you notice you only get about 30-40% of water actually coming out of it.
Right.
And so when we adjust the spine, we look for what we call subluxations. And subluxations is a misalignment of the spine that causes the bone not to be able to move properly. And in turn, when it moves like this, it actually puts pressure on the nerve here so that it only, your nerve might only be functioning at about 60%. And when that happens, there's bound to be mistakes happening in the body. And that's where disease ends up coming from, is the body not having full outflow and not able to actually function at its optimal potential where it can actually do all the healing. Our body has to deal with so many stressors every single day that if it's not working at 100%, you're going to end up having issues. It's not a matter of how long, if something's going to happen. It's kind of a matter of when, and then just what kind of form is it going to be in. But the body is just so incredible. You think about, you get a cut, it automatically knows what to do. You don't have to tell it. Kind of scab it up, it's going to heal it.
Mm-hmm.
You
That's
know,
amazing.
yeah, and even a
Mm-hmm.
broken bone. You think about breaking a bone, and yeah, doctors are going to put you in a cast more than likely and everything like that. But all that does is keep the bone straight. It has nothing to do with the healing process. Your body heals that entire bone back to its original state, which is just absolutely incredible. Your body is just so smart that it can literally heal anything if it's given the opportunity to.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes back to even, nutrition. It's, that's one of the main things I definitely hit on with people is nutrition. But you got to look at it from an aspect. Even if you're eating the right things all the time and your
Mm-hmm.
body is just so bogged down and only running at 60%, it's not able to utilize all those nutrients and you're not going to get the
Right.
results that you need. Those nerves need to be open, those pathways need to be open. I mean, our brain is there to keep us alive and keep us moving. And if we
Mm-hmm.
don't nourish it and take care of it, eventually we're going to start having issues. And the body is what I've seen in my office already in my short time
Mm-hmm.
being a chiropractor is just absolutely incredible what the body can do and how it can heal people.
Right, right. Amazing.
Very,
But
very
if
much
but
so.
if you think about it, in the 1900s, or 1960s, 40s, they didn't have all this stuff.
Hmm.
So, they had to live off the land. And, our grandmothers had some home remedies that'll blow your mind,
Oh, yeah.
you
Hmm.
know,
Oh, yeah.
and like I said, they didn't have all of this. So, it just, like you said, it just amazes me how, it takes just a little to get a lot.
Yeah.
It really does. And my personal trainer is big on self care.
Mhm.
I mean, she is huge on it. And
Mhm.
I'm so thankful that she is because, my world has just been opened up to massages, chiropractors, but I was really in a lot of pain
Mhm.
when I was at that fuzz run. And you talked about this area up here.
Yes.
It was real tight,
Yep.
and I had knots in it,
Mhm.
and so I felt like I was going around like this all day.
Yep.
But you were telling me that's stress.
Yep.
That's stress, and you were like, let's relieve some of that. Between that and my adjustments and the pillow,
Yeah. That's it.
I love that pillow.
I'm right there with you. It has absolutely changed my life.
It's life changing.
Yes.
It's life changing. So let me ask you this. So I can't remember if it was you or Maggie I was talking to,
Okay.
but um, you all were telling me that babies can get adjustments. So let's talk a little bit about infants
Oh yeah.
and adjusting infants.
Yes, I would absolutely love to. So yeah, the stigma behind chiropractic, that scares a lot of people. Is the fact that they hear this cracking and it's very rough and physical, and why would I ever let someone touch my baby that's going to do something like that, which is totally inaccurate as far as adjusting a baby. We've adjusted a baby couple hours old straight out of the womb
Mm.
immediately, and it's the only organ in a baby's body that is not fully developed when it's born is its nervous system.
Oh.
So, with that in mind, you have to remember as a chiropractor, we work with the nervous system, and
Mhm.
getting your baby adjusted is so simple. It's all I do if I'm adjusting the neck, since not all their bones are formed, but their C1
Mhm.
atlas bone and their sacrum, their sitting bone, is one of the ones that are formed right out of the womb. And these bones, it's the top and the bottom. So you
The
think
top
about
to
the
bottom. Okay.
foundation and the top of the spine. And all I do is take a little bit of pressure, and it's about the pressure that you use to test ripeness of a peach.
Okay.
So very little pressure whatsoever. There's no turning. There's no forceful thing whatsoever. I hold my finger there, and it's the most incredible thing since they're nervous system is so fresh and not bogged down with all these stressors that you receive as you go through life. Their body literally just sucks it in, and it can
Oh,
be
wow.
it can help the baby develop, but it helps with so many things, such as builds up your immune system, keeps them healthier. That way they get less ear infections, just throat infections. It helps with torticollis. It helps with latching issues. Baby not able to turn the head side to side, so it doesn't want to latch properly.
Wow.
It helps with digestive issues as a child. And right out the gate, the best thing you can do for a child is help that nervous system develop. So when they get to an age about 2 or 3, when it is developed, then it can grow even more, and there's less chances of having symptoms such as like autism issues and brain imbalances, things like that. Right out of the gate, if you fix these misalignments, the body's working at 100%, and that baby's able to grow more properly as it starts to develop through life.
Now, isn't that amazing? Because we're not taught that at all.
No.
At all. And I was talking to somebody, and they were saying that, and you mentioned it, a colicky baby. It could be something as simple as getting an adjustment, and maybe it's not the milk.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a misalignment.
Exactly.
Something so simple that you can do to an infant. But what do? We society has programmed us to run to the physician's office. And the physician is, I'm just gonna be real, the physician is not gonna tell you to go to a chiropractor. They're not gonna tell you that. That's more on the holistic side. So, this is an option for people, and especially with the babies. I was so fascinated with that. I was like, babies can get adjusted, or then you need to get your baby adjusted.
Definitely. I mean, it'll be absolutely life-changing. I mean, even with their sleep, which is one of the biggest things as a new parent, is you get absolutely no sleep. Now, they're not going to, they're still going to have to wake up, and they're going to have to feed, but the baby's going to sleep a lot better, and you're going to get through that hump of having to be up very consistently a lot quicker, because the baby's going to get the hang of it. It's going to start sleeping better. So a little bit of peace of mind for the parents as well, but also have the peace of mind that your baby is developing like it should, and it's just straighten the course like it needs to.
Right. That's amazing. So for all you mothers out there, get the child adjusted. It's amazing what it can do. And I'm thinking also too, if your child is in sports, we talked about that earlier. If the child in sports, I want to talk about when I came to you, and my I think it was my right knee was hurting, and you asked me. You said, "What did you do?" Because I get 2-week adjustments. So Dr. Alex asked me, he said, well, what did you do in 2 weeks? Because you weren't complaining about that. And so I told you that I tried some new exercises, and I think I kind of maybe did one wrong or whatever. And that's when you introduced me to my IT band. You remember that?
Yes. Oh,
you introduced me to the IT band.
Yeah.
So the IT band in everybody's body is very, very important. So I want us to get this on record. Tell everybody what the IT band is.
So,
and how you can, if you get these symptoms, what you can do to help your IT band. I didn't even know I had an IT band.
So definitely the IT band is one of the most interesting mechanisms in the body. And where it actually runs, it runs from the top of your crest, so the top of your hip that you feel on your side, and it runs all the way down past the bump in the top of your leg, all the way down, and connects to the knee. Right. And what it is, it's not a full tendon, it's not a full muscle, and it's not a full fascia. What it is, the top, there's about 1/3 of it that's muscular, and that connects to your glute med, so your butt muscles. And then it connects to your iliacus, which is a pelvic muscle, and it goes down and it connects to your quads, and it turns into what we call a fascia. And a fascia is more dealt with stretchiness of the body. And what happens is a lot of people that have IT band issues, it usually comes with, if it's like a new gym thing, it's usually jumping up and down, or it's running a lot, it's biking a lot, it's something you're not used to doing, where it causes your legs to go forward, backwards. And what it does, it helps stabilize the body and it helps stabilize the knee. The main function of the IT band, the best remedies that you could possibly do for it is, one, you can roll out the muscular part of it. It is going to hurt, but you roll it out, and what it does, it brings blood flow to the area, which is going to help it heal. It's going to put pressure in the middle of that muscle belly, and that actually tells the brain to turn the muscle off, tell it to relax a little bit. And for the side of the leg, you're going to want to roll on it, kind of lift up that fascia as you roll down onto it, and it will help it get that fluid motion back in it, so it takes a lot of stress off of it. A lot of things with IT band, you may have an IT band issue. Like Tina said, if you just have pain in the knee, because that's just where it inserts. If it gets tight up the leg and into the hip here, it's going to pull on that knee, and eventually you're going to do something and it's going to feel like your knee is pulling, and cause some issues there.
Yeah. So with all that you just said, how important is stretching?
Very, very. So here's the thing. You have to be able to move. So movement is so important for the body. One, every time you do a movement, it activates a different part of the brain. There's been multiple studies that have been correlated with movement and neurodegenerative issues, such as like Parkinson's, things that really affect memory in particular, Alzheimer's, things like that. And part of that mobility, once you start moving more, your muscles get tighter, which seems like an oxymoron, but if you work your muscles, they're going to get tight. So you got to keep that movement, and you got to stretch every day, make it a little routine. If you do it every day, you don't have to do it for hours. You only got to do it 15, 20 minutes a day. Try to do your best at it. And what it does, it's going to loosen up that fascia. It's going to make it so you're able to move better. And, another thing I recommend that goes along with the stretching is definitely recommend yoga as well. Yoga in particular, the one other aspect of yoga that I love that it teaches people, it teaches you how to breathe. And the breathing that yoga likes to do actually stimulates a part of your nervous system that helps your body to relax and start to change. And that's where your body's going to be able to actually heal, kind of release this pressure that kind of gets built up, causes us to have all these tight muscles anyways.
Right. So what about meditation?
I love meditation as well. You definitely get the breathing aspect in the meditation. Meditation is really a way to set aside all your stressors in the world, able to bring your body down, calm your breathing down. Naturally, as our body is so stressed out and up, that our breathing becomes quicker and quicker, and we don't even know it. And meditation, whatever your form of meditation is, you don't have to be a Buddhist in order to meditate. I'm a Christian, I meditate. It's just a way to really bring that calmness to the body and, work on that breathing. We need to breathe to live. And, the faster our breathing gets, the more strain it puts on our lungs. So as we start to get older, our tissues, they get weaker and weaker and weaker. And it kind of, you're able to be more prone to have some type of issues with the lungs at some point, whatever that may be. And it just really helps to counteract that a lot.
Right. I also saw on one of the diagrams, I think it was the one with the skeletal, we were talking about the vertebrae.
Yeah.
There was one that interests me because my daughter has eczema. And
Mhm.
I saw that there was a vertebrae adjustment that could deal and help you with that. So
Correct.
let's talk about, if you could just name that off the top of your head, just some things that maybe you have frequently seen in patients that I know blood pressure is one. I
Ye-
did see that.
Yes.
But if you could just name a couple of things that may be common, and that how, getting adjusted could help with those areas.
Definitely. And, the first one that comes right off the top of the head is that C1 bone we are talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So the C1 bone is called the atlas bone, and it's the only bone in our spine that's shaped just like a circle. And the
Okay.
reason why it's shaped like a circle is because our brain stem, as it comes out of our skull, actually sits right in that bone. And
Mm.
so you can imagine if that bone's misaligned, what kind of pressure it could be having on the brainstem. And
Right.
a lot of things that come to mind in this regard, as far as function of the body, is you know our brainstem has a lot of our senses and our autonomic nervous system control. So
Mm-hmm.
one of the biggest ones is the vagus nerve that comes off of the brainstem, and the vagus nerve actually contributes to your heart beating, so heart issues in general,
Mm-hmm.
as well as digestive issues. I mean, I've adjusted their atlas bone twice, and same thing. They stopped having stomach aches. They stopped having reflux. Um, it also controls that blood pressure because of that heart. And, I've had multiple people be able to get off of blood pressure medication because their blood pressure actually improves,
Mm-hmm.
strictly through the adjustments. Uh,
Wow.
Another one in particular, the eczema, is related
Mm-hmm.
to C5. C5, that nerve actually goes through your lymphatic system into the arm here. And
Mm.
what it does, it helps your lymphatic system be able to get rid of these toxins more efficiently. And what I actually saw with the eczema generally starts with a gut issue. And the problem is your lymphatic system can't eliminate the toxins like our body's made to do. So a lot of
Mm.
times when I get that C5, eczema starts to clear up, and it was simply from adjusting a bone in the neck, in the lower neck.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And people say that again when you said a lot of people don't know that good gut health is
Yeah,
what you're saying, because a lot of people don't understand that that is connected to a lot of inflammation and a lot of things that happen in your body. It starts in the gut. That
oh,
that that amazed me too. Okay, come on, let's go. Let's do some more. We got some time. Give me another
sure.
seed, another bone.
Another bone. Okay, so let's see here. In your case, definitely sacrum. So sacrum is the tailbone that's shaped like a
Right.
triangle, like this, and it rocks with your hips when you move. Sacrum has what we call a sacral plexus come off of it, and what it
Mhm.
is, it's a multitude of nerves that come together like a webbing, and then they spread out down the legs and they innervate different organs. So they also affect
Mm.
your colon, your large intestines, your small intestines, and your reproductive organs in particular. So, a
Right.
lot of times, another good example that, I can think of was actually my fiance's dad in clinic. He was my patient,
Mhm.
and he, it was the funniest thing because I adjusted his sacrum. I'm like, wow, your sacrum is, really misaligned, like this and that. I was like, like make sure like you go to, you're able to go to the bathroom later because it might be a possibility because he's been constipated. And I kid you not, I visited with him like 2 hours later, and his wife tells me, yeah, so I don't know what you did, but yeah, he was in there for a little while. And after that, he felt great.
It worked, y'all. It worked.
Yeah, it does. It does.
It works. And also, let's talk about people who do a lot of driving, because I had been last couple of months. I have been up and down the road. And the one that you just talked about, on my left side, you've
Yeah.
always had to adjust that
Yep.
because, that being sitting and being in the car a long time, and you would just touch it and I would just, and you were like, have you been driving a lot? And I'm like, yeah, as a matter of fact, I have. And you were like, just hold still. Let me get you. And it's always that area because I do a lot of driving. I'm in the car all the time.
Yeah.
So you don't really think about it. But, again, that's the power of being aligned.
Exactly. And, when it comes to sitting in particular, there's two different aspects you got to think about. It's, when you're driving, you're never perfectly ergonomic, you're straight, your legs are even because one, you got one on the gas pedal. So you got one leg out, which is going to twist the rest of your spine. You usually have one hand, let's be honest.
Yeah.
And doesn't matter what hand it is, you got this imbalance all the time. And it becomes a pattern in the body. So what happens is when you have this pattern and you develop more of a pattern, you're starting to become more uneven throughout the body. So then when you start to sit, our bodies are literally made to move. Genetically, physiologically, our bodies need to move. And, I'm very thankful that we have cars and we're able to travel at a much better pace than we could if we were walking or running. But it's one of those double-edged swords is, the more you sit, the stiffer your joints get. They're going to lock up because the brain sees no purpose for it having to move because we're just sitting there. And then when you go to move again, all of a sudden it's like, well, I don't want to move. So then the muscles get tight. It can develop inflammation and create all this discomfort, especially in that pelvic area.
Right. Okay. So on the diagram, there was some C's at the top, and then there was some T's at the bottom. Let's talk about the T's.
Okay. So going through the spine at the top, so the C stands for cervical. Cervical is the 7 bones in your neck.
Okay.
And then the T stand for thoracic. So thoracic is from the bottom of the neck here to about the mid back.
Okay.
And then once we get past that into the lower back, those are called the lumbars. So they're considered L1, L2.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. So you got C, the T's, and the L. So talk about some of the things that are adjusting the T's. That's the middle of the back. What are some of the things that can help with?
Definitely. So, one of the biggest ones is T4. T4 goes straight to the heart. Helps anyone with heart issues, as well as your upper ribs. A lot of people don't realize that when you adjust the middle back there, the thoracics, all your ribs connect to the thoracic bones, those middle bones. And, if your bones aren't moving correctly, your ribs aren't moving correctly, which in turn, when you go to take a breath, you already have less of a capacity to take a breath because the dysfunction in the movement of the ribs itself. Other particular ones that I can think of right off the top of my head, definitely T9, T10. Both of those nerves go to the small intestine as well as the pancreas, which is a big insulin booster in the body as well. So you think of blood sugar control when it comes to diabetes issues or just too much sugar where you're kind of pre-diabetic, adjusting those segments can definitely help your body be able to regulate that blood sugar regulation so that your body can use the sugar that it needs and be able to discard it efficiently so that it doesn't create that blood glucose fasting level too high.
Right. So there's another alternative besides insulin.
Correct.
It's to get adjustments. You just never know. Let's talk about I think this is important. Let's talk about the definition of inflammation and how people get it. I think this is important. Go ahead.
Okay, so you're going to find many different definitions of inflammation in the body from all different sources, Google, WebMD, whatever the case may be. The bottom line of inflammation happens when there is some type of trauma to the body. And what the body does it sends all of these immune boosters and all these blood clotters to an area where there's injury. And so what happens is a lot of these different cells come in a fluid form called plasma. And what happens is it releases all of these different cells all at once, and it creates this inflammation, kind of like a pocket, in order to have those healing remedies within it. So, a lot of people look at inflammation as being bad, which it is. However, if you roll an ankle and you have inflammation right away, that's a good thing, because it's bringing healthy things to the area. It can be a little bit tender because, it's very surface level, and it affects kind of the sensory nerves that are on the surface, and it can kind of put some pressure on them. However, the issue comes into chronic inflammation, where your body, it uses the inflammation like it needs to, but it can't get rid of it like it should be able to. And that's where that kind of long-standing inflammation comes into the body. And there's so many different factors that can kind of feed it, such as diet. If you eat a lot of sugar, dairy in particular is just inflammatory in nature. So even if you eat, healthy dairy, raw milk, whatever the case may be, it's still just inflammatory in nature. And a lot of people don't tell people that if you're having some type of issues with inflammation at that point, cut out dairy for a little bit, and I guarantee you, you're going to have a little bit of success with that.
Yeah, my daughter is a junior chef, and she came home one day and she says, "You do know that milk is for cows?" And I looked at her and I said, "What?" And she said, "Mom, cow milk is for cows. It's not for humans." And I was like, "Are you kidding?" She said, "Mom, you're not supposed to drink it." And when I have cut the dairy out of, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing how lighter I felt. And it goes back to what you said, good gut health.
Yep.
That right there is the trigger to a lot of things. And the other thing I was thinking about when I thought about the definition of inflammation, I thought about alarm system. It's your alarm going off telling you that something's wrong, something's hurting, something, and sometimes people ignore the alarm system, right? They ignore it, right? And it just gets louder and louder. And I think that's when it turns chronic. Because, when you go into your house and you forget to shut off the alarm, it's a beep, But then as time passes, the alarm in your house gets louder and louder because, hey, you're somebody
pay
in your house. And I thought about inflammation as being like that, right? It's like an internal alarm system that's telling you something is off and something is wrong. And when you ignore it, the siren gets louder and louder and louder. But it's amazing, Dr. Alex, how just exercise, a good diet, self-wellness, self-care, instituting a massage into your plan, finding a good chiropractor and getting adjustments. It's amazing how when I changed my life and added these tools, I call it my toolbox. When I added these tools in my wellness toolbox, how much better I feel and how much sharper I am. But the main thing is you all have taught me to really be in tune with me, be in tune with my body. And I just wanted to say thank you. I am so appreciative. I'm so glad that I've met you. I am so glad that you have educated me. And I'm going to tell everybody, if you get a chiropractor and they adjust you and they don't talk to you during adjustments and educate you, leave that chiropractor office and go to family chiropractic in Covington. Because I've had several chiropractors. And everybody is the same. I'm educated no matter who I get. And I've had like 3 or 4. Sometimes Dr. Alex is in high demand and I can't. Last time I was in there, I didn't get a chance to talk to you. So I was kind of feeling some kind of way. I just want to let you know.
I'm sorry.
I'm spoiled.
Hey, you're one of my favorites. You're one of my
I'm
favorites.
spoiled. Oh, we have a good time.
Oh
We
yeah.
have a
Oh
good
man.
time.
Oh
We
man.
have so much fun. So before we end the show, do you have any last minute things you would like to tell the viewers or for them to
So
remember?
I mean, definitely, number one, go out there, find a chiropractor, talk to them, see what they can do for you. I mean,
Mhm.
it's, even if you don't have any neck pain, back pain, there's just so much more that you can really start living your full life. Some things you may not even know until you get a couple adjustments under your belt and you're like,
Right.
wow, I don't have this anymore. I don't have this anymore. And, all these things start to come up. And then, I encourage you to, when those things happen, talk to your chiropractor about it. Let them
Mhm.
talk to you about it, and then expand your knowledge. I mean, the biggest thing is, that I've learned over my entire life, and especially through chiropractic, is, it's ask questions. If someone's not able to give you a good answer, and you're just, there's no reason for you to really trust what they're saying as being whole. If they can't
Mhm.
answer it, explain it to you, because there's no reason why you can't learn the same way we all did as
Right.
chiropractors. And, the biggest thing is, add chiropractic into your lifestyle, eat healthy, take care of your body, um, and move is the number one thing. Brain health, your body system's working, everything, move around. Our body is made to move.
Right.
um, Really start taking care of your health now. It just breaks my heart when I, see some people come into my office and I'm talking to them and they have all these issues going on and they're 60 plus, and
Mm.
and they just have no option. And, if you let your body get worse and worse, even as a chiropractor, at some point we can only do so much. We can definitely help improve quality of life, but,
Mhm.
ultimately you got to take your health into your hands. No one's going to do it for you. You're going to have to just buckle down. Even if you work into it slowly, that's perfectly fine. Start adding things in, and encourage yourself to learn and really just, push yourself, because, you can definitely do it. I have full faith in you. God has full faith in you. You can do it. And, be confident in yourself. And if you don't know, ask someone, get answers, put time into your health now so you don't have to put money and less time with doing what you want to do when you're older.
Right. Yes, sir. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Self-care matters.
Yes.
And this segment is about giving you another tool in your toolbox to
Yep.
help you with self-care. Dr. Alex, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I am so appreciative of you being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Tina. I was absolutely excited. I know it took a little while to make it work out with the schedules, but I'm so glad you had me. I couldn't be happier to talk to people. I just, I love to get people out there any way I can help, just through my voice, if I'm able to let them think about, make some changes,
Mhm.
already start that health journey. That's, I've done my job and that's what I love to do. So thank you.
Yeah, and I've done my job too because I had you on. We have it is a living video, and
Yeah.
so people can always go back and refer to it. So I just want to say thank you and thank you to Dr. Jamie for bringing me on board. I love everybody in the office. Everybody is so nice. And another thing I learned about chiropractic sessions,
Mhm.
they get you in and they get you out.
Yep.
It does not take all day.
Mhm.
Man, we are in and we are out. And I have my whole full therapy session with Dr. Alex within them 5-10 minutes that I'm in there. We catch up so quick
Oh
and
yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The adjustment doesn't have to be long to make a huge
Mm-mm,
impact. It really doesn't.
mm-mm. No, no. You all are rotating people out there like
Yep.
crazy.
It gets crazy in there sometimes. I will say that.
Yeah, on certain days, I'm sure.
On certain days.
Yeah. Well, you hold on. You
Okay.
hold on. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to end the show. So, to the viewers, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I really appreciate it. I really thank you for sharing the video and being a part of our library. The interview will be housed on our YouTube page at True Blue Designs, and you will see all of the interviews that we have had since 2020. So I thank you tonight for tuning in, and we will see you in a couple of weeks. And until then, same time, same place. Good night, everybody.